Hello everyone and welcome back to Axon Gamers. My name's Senkai and today I'm going to talk about the Dragon Ball FighterZ, the most recent fighting game for PS4, Xbox One and PC. So where do I start? I really love fighting games. I've played Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur and many more on a competitive level, and I've just been waiting so long for a new fighting game to get me back to online play and local tournaments. It's something that I haven't done in quite some time. I played Pokemon seriously as well, and Sun and Moon had me. Actually, that was the first generation I did not play competitively. So I've been really looking forward to a game like that, and I'm so happy to say that Dragon Ball FighterZ is the game that brought me back to the competitive aspect of video games, which I'm going to talk about now. The game also have a story mode, and the thing is that it's not like the biggest deal to the game as a whole, but it's worth mentioning. I just finished it, to be honest, and yeah, that's usually when I make these kind of videos, when I finish a story in a game and I see those credits roll. So it really reminded me that I should be making this video now. So let's get to it. Well, yeah, let's talk about story mode right away to get it over with. It takes place like I think during Super or late Z, or it's non-canon. I'm not too sure, but most of the characters are from late Dragon Ball Z, and you also have characters from Super. But what's so cool is that you actually see these characters meet each other. Characters from early Z and brand new characters for the series actually meet up in the story, and yeah, there's a lot of good jokes and a lot of hilarious dialogue, like Goku and Piccolo during a mission discussing like who's the real father for Gohan. I had a laugh from that, and I'm sure you will have a lot of fun reading through this story if you're a fan of Dragon Ball. Um, Currently, there are no characters from GT, unfortunately, but we have two characters from movies, but they are not in the story. So yeah, it's probably a Dragon Ball Super story, if I think about it. Um, the story mode is cinematics, and like first and foremost cinematics, where with the in-game graphics, it's the gameplay plays out in 2D, but the graphics are actually 3D as it's Unreal Engine, and they take use of that in the story mode. So they use all these different angles to make like these cool shots when they talk to each other. The unfortunate part is that whenever they are about to fight, you do that in like the in-game engine you use in versus mode, the regular fighting mechanics of the game. So you watch them talk and you watch them go to different places, but when they're finally gonna fight, which is like the highlight of the series, as most of you know, you don't get to see that. You actually get to play a match, and it's usually against like a very weak computer, and the fights are over very quick. So that's like the worst thing I can say about the story mode. That it's good at times, actually really funny sometimes, but it's not very Dragon Ball really, because of the story not showing you any of the battles. Um, there are a few fights in the story where you actually get to play the story battle. It's usually just you fighting clones, because in this story they like made copies of the main guys in the series, and you're just fighting those over and over again. But sometimes you get to do the fights that are in like taking place in the story at the time. So those are fairly nice. But yeah, I don't say like I can't recommend you buy the game for the story. But if you do buy the game as a competitive fighting game and you do enjoy Dragon Ball, don't miss out on this story. But because it was actually worth the hours. It's about 10 hours, I think. But it was fairly fun. Kind of repetitive, kind of grindy, but yeah, there was some good jokes and some quality Dragon Ball dialogue in there. So yeah, that's it for the story. The characters I really like. See, if you played Budokai, Tenkaichi, Xenoverse, or many of the other Dragon Ball games, Most of the characters are very similar to each other. Um, Sometimes even just reskins. Like they all seem to share the same body, but they're just painted differently. It's hard to describe what I'm trying to say. But some like slimmer characters in the series are very buff in the other games, and it just seems like they are all based on the same model, which they fixed in Fighters. Some angles in the story mode makes them look kind of weird. But the 2D aspect, because when you're playing the game, the versus mode, it's actually in 2D. They are using 3D models, but they're showing them in 2D. So every move and every animation in these fights are actually usually taken from the manga or the anime series, where they have these fantastic shots of characters blocking, punching, and shooting, and doing all kinds of stuff, and it looks incredible. The super arts goes into 3D, and that's where they like straight take shots from the anime series and recreates them in this engine, and it looks fantastic. Sometimes even better than the series. It's incredible, really, and. And yeah, so that's the thing too, because most characters don't share any moves with each other. A lot of characters are very unique, so you have a lot of moves that looks good to watch. And if you're taking this seriously, there's a lot to experiment with. It's a fairly easy game, I have to say. It's a lot easier than many other fighting games. Fighting games are getting easier and easier. So I mean, if you pick up the most recent Tekken or Street Fighter, those will be fairly easy to get into compared to older installments as well. But Dragon Ball FighterZ is more or less based on Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And that was also a game that's like hard to master, but kind of easy to get into. So yeah, a lot of fun. It's great because it's a 3-on-3 fighter, so you pick one character that you play as, and then you pick 2 assists. When that character faints, you get to play as one of your assists, and you repeat that until you're one of you win. So that's basically how it works. And because you have one point character and 2 assists, you can create all kinds of different teams. I think the game has like somewhere between 20 and 30 characters, maybe closer to 20, and like if you can mix and match those for teams of 3, there's a lot of combinations, and the combinations actually matters. They make a huge difference, and that's what makes this game so much fun to watch online as well. If you're watching streams for like tournaments and stuff, even if you see your own team, like 2 of the characters you use yourself, but with the third one that you haven't tried, you can see that the teams play out so differently, and yeah, you just learn so much from watching the game, because you see all kinds of different characters do things in combination with the characters you do know. So it's very nice like that, and the music is really good as well. Just for the sake of this review, I'll mention that real quick. But the music doesn't really sound like the anime at all. Maybe some of the movies, I'm not too sure. But there is the anime music pack you can download for $15, which I think is kind of expensive. But by doing that, you get the songs from the series, which is cool. I have not done that because I think the music in the game is really nice. It sounds more like Blaze Blue or Guilty Gear, which I think is absolutely fine. The game is made by the same creators behind those 2 games, so I'm not sure if the composer is the same. I don't think so. That guy's called Daisuke something, and I have not seen his name on this game. But it's a similar style. You have like guitars, and it's mostly rocking music. So it's nice. I like it. And when you go online, you choose your team that you like picked, and then you go online with that team, and you don't get to like choose characters when you go online, so it's very quick. It's snappy. And you can also queue for fights online while in training mode. So that's something I've been doing a lot. While training, I've been looking for fights, and that's why the game is so much fun, because there's no downtime really. Either you are practicing your own game or you're fighting other people, and that flow is incredible, really, I have to say. Um, but yeah, I think you should go out and try the game if you're interested. It's a lot of fun, and it's finally a fighting game for Dragon Ball. It's so incredible that this series has been about fighting ever since the 80s, and we still never really had a traditional fighting game, because we had fighting games, obviously, but not one of those like traditional, more Street Fighter like Dragon Ball games. It's weird. It's kind of crazy to think about. But finally we do, and the game is great. So awesome stuff. Um, that's it for my review, I think. But I want to talk about the game some more, or like the history, really, because like I said, it's the first time we had a proper fighting game of Dragon Ball, and it means so much to me because that's one of my favorite series ever, and it's very nostalgic to me. Um, what I want to talk about now is that, like I said at the beginning of this video, that I played a lot of games competitively, a whole bunch. But my favorite, and the one that I was actually the best at, or one of my best games, was Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and also Vanilla Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And I had so much fun playing that game, and I won a bunch of tournaments, and it was my game. It really was. I loved it so much, because I played a lot of other fighting games because I like the competitive aspect, and sometimes I don't like the game too much, but I think it's fun and the community is good and stuff like that. But all the mechanics in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I loved so much. So I could never stop playing that game because it was perfect for me, and so I was really looking forward to a sequel. But we never got a Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Instead, we got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which is not really anything like Marvel 3. It share some things, but like the core aspects that make Marvel 3 the game it is are not present in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And that was really a bummer, because Marvel vs. Capcom 3's servers were to be put down. The next Marvel game didn't look that good. And then E3 came along, and Microsoft showed Dragon Ball FighterZ, and that game looked everything like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So here I was anticipating and expecting the revival of my favorite fighting game, skinned like my favorite series. Amazing stuff, like a dream come true, really. And I'm just so happy that all those months waiting for the game after that trailer, they did show the game every now and then on a stream, like playing betas and stuff. But I was still curious, and I wasn't too sure how the game would turn out, because you never know. You like sometimes Super Smash Bros. Brawl, for instance, it looked great, but it turned out to be very different to Melee. Um, so yeah, very very happy that Dragon Ball FighterZ turned out the way it did, and I love the game so much. Um, I had played the beta, I think, before I did this, but on during New Year's Eve, actually, one of my New Year's resolutions was to take Dragon Ball FighterZ seriously, as I've been out of the loop for so long when it comes to competitive games as a whole. I don't play any PC games anymore. Like I took World of Warcraft very seriously, and and Pokemon, like I said. Um, so to finally be back with online gaming, local tournaments, and just to have this fighting game that I can practice by myself and actually see results and follow online with streams and stuff. It's so good. I'm so happy to be back, and for it to be a Dragon Ball game of all IPs and franchises, mind blown. Really mind blown. It's so cool. I can't believe it really, but it's been fantastic to play Dragon Ball FighterZ and for the game to evolve so quickly. By the way, it's a very impressive game, and the community is awesome. The community online is not the best because there's a lot of rage quitters. I think a lot of people just play it for like trophies and stuff. So not every fight is gonna be a competitive one, but I still think it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of good players to be found because many of the mechanics, like I said, were from Marvel 3, and there's a lot of similarities to BlazBlue and Guilty Gear. So top players from the get-go. The first week of the game, already people were really good at the game, and that was so nice to see. Not just people being good at it, but actually taking it seriously. But like I said earlier, it's one of the easier fighting games to get into, so don't be scared. There are a lot of good players, and because the game is fairly simple in a lot of ways, even average players are gonna make some really fast progress in learning this game. So with that being said, though, I'm gonna play the game more. Like I said, I have this Fighter's Pass for the extra character, and one of my favorite characters, Vegito, is getting released in a few weeks, so very much looking forward to that. But until then, I keep playing my team of Goku Blue, Adult Gohan, and Android 16. I've been switching up the orders, and I used to play Goku Black, but I don't know, it's a lot of fun to actually try a new character because not just does the character alone bring so much, but to change up the order in your team makes a huge difference as well. I can go on for a long time talking about this game, as you noticed, but yeah, it's so much fun, and yeah, I'd be happy if you try it out and like it, because I think you will if you're interested in these kind of games, and yeah, if you want to play online, just let me know. I play on PS4 for the moment. I might get it on PC later. I have not decided on that, but I do have the game on PS4, and yeah, my PlayStation Network ID is Senkai91, so Senkai91. Fairly simple username, but that's what it's been for many years. So I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time, get gaming.